Welcome, everybody. And today we're going to be talking about marketing and online practice and also, creating a good profile for an online practice. And for that, today we have Clay Cockwell. He is the founder of the Online Counseling Directory, which is a great place to list your profile. And Clay is an expert at marketing. He's been doing this kind of work for a long time, helping clinicians get listed on his profile and market themselves very well. So Clay, thank you so much for being with us today. And we get inquiries all the time about how do I market an online practice? I really want to do it because I want to retire, not totally retire, or whatever it is. I might have kids at home. I just want to work from home, but I'm not sure that I can actually get enough clients. So yeah, we're glad to have you. With whatever insight you can share with us would be fantastic.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. I love talking about this. I love marketing, building practices online. And one of the first things that I tell people is that it comes from your own mental game and your own approach. That if you're new to online counseling, if you are maybe reluctant to come into online counseling, that there needs to be a mindset shift that you need to buy into this. This is effective. This is good. This is not second rate. I tell the people that I work with that you need to believe in that this is maybe even more effective than face-to-face counseling. And whatever you need to do to get there, to talk about how that this is more convenient for your client, that sometimes it's even more connectedness because they're right in your ear, that there is an improvement in confidentiality. Nobody's going to see them in the parking lot. Nobody's going to see them in the waiting room. Whatever you need to do to get to that mental place of this is not second rate. This is just as good. And hopefully you even buy into this is better than face-to-face, because that's going to come across in your marketing. You need to express it with a degree of confidence. So that goes into the background, some of the nuts and bolts. There are some specific things that you need to do to let the world know that you're providing this service. Let's talk about website. First of all, you need to have a website. You need to have an online presence. And on your website, it needs to be highlighted either on a specific page or on your home page that you provide online therapy. And if you want to take it up to the next game, there should be a video on there of you saying, hi, my name's Clay Cockwell, and this is what counseling is like when you're working with me online. So it gives them a sense of this is what it's going to be like. It takes away the fear. It gives them information. It's like, this is how my office looks. This is my background. And you talk to them, and this is how easy it is. And you give them all the tips of connecting with you. So that's a big one. I say that you need to have it highlighted on all your profiles, with Psychology Today, maybe on My Directory, Good Therapy, whatever you're using. And those directories do work. You need to have it on your website, either on your homepage or on a specific page that says online therapy or how you're connected. And if you can get a video, and it doesn't have to be fancy, if you can get a video and upload that to your website, do it. It helps a lot. So those are some of the big connections. But also, what I tell people is marketing an online practice really isn't any different. Well, it's a little different, but all the things that a person would do to market an in-person typical office practice, this is what you need to do when you're marketing an online practice. You need to connect with referrals. Sources, know the psychiatrists, know your general practitioners, know the chiropractors in your area, build those relationships, and then also build those relationships of other telehealth people that are working with telehealth, so that they know that you're providing this service and that you can build that referral network with other online providers. That's really important. And that's just kind of get to know. It's setting up a Zoom meeting. It's buying them lunch and saying, how are you marketing yourself? which then comes to, and you jump in here anytime, Ray, because I can just talk and talk and talk.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. One thing I'd be glad one thing I'd like to hear more about is creating that video, because I have actually seen it. It looked like some sort of some organization did a study on this, I think, about the video, where if they can actually see what it's going to be like, they're going to be much more willing to reach out. So in creating that video, I was wondering if you have any tips, because you could have a video that's more kind of raw, like just like, hey, this is how it really is. It could be more polished. It could be animation with a voiceover. It could be, you can actually show the steps of, you're going to go to this site, you're going to click here, you're going to boom, and then see me on the screen. Any tips on creating that?
Yeah, I say the amateur wins the day. It's authentic. It's I think people want, especially connecting therapeutically, they want somebody who is going to be real. And you downloading Zoom, clicking on record, talking to the camera, just talking, and imagine that you're talking to that potential client. Having a professional background, mine needs a little cleaning up, but it's general. When you're doing that video, make sure that it's that you're dressed well, that you've got a nice microphone, that you are maybe using earbuds, because that can help with the connection and also capture your voice a little better. But also, look at your background and make sure that it's, not an unmade bed or a dirty kitchen. I've actually seen videos like this. So that's a little pro tip. Have a nice background, or just a white background like what Ray has today. That's fine too. If you love all this stuff and you want to get some of the video editing software out there and have an intro and voiceover, go for it. That's fun. And that might be your clientele. Maybe your clientele, they need something a little bit more professional. Okay, but you don't have to have that. You can have some of the research that I'm seeing is that just holding a phone up and talking to it, or talking to your computer, and it being very amateur, comes across as being very authentic and real.
Uh,
The the
yeah.
thing to remember, it's better to have something than nothing.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, when people do networking and they take someone out for lunch, or, and let people know about their offerings, sometimes people get a lot of referrals from that. And sometimes people don't get it all. And I hear what you're saying about being confident yourself and the value of the services that you're providing is important. Any other tips in regards to that, making best use of that networking?
Absolutely. This is my number one tip. This is the secret weapon that I built my practice in the middle of Manhattan, where I like to say you can't swing a dead cat and not hit another therapist. It is a glut in the market. And I built my practice to be one of the top therapists with a full practice and waiting list in Manhattan. And this is how I did it. BNI. BNI stands for Business Networking International. And let me just take you through it. It is a group of people that meet once a week for breakfast. They have chapters all over the world, and there's one person per profession. So in our group, we had an accountant, a lawyer, a real estate agent, an interior decorator, a chiropractor, and a therapist. And the whole point of this group was to refer to one another. And it became kind of like a game. Now, here's the financials behind it. I think it's like maybe $400 a year. Then you pay for breakfast, and that's it.
Yeah.
And they've got chapters all over the world. Now, Ray, have you heard of this group before?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I'm familiar with it, actually. Because years ago, I was part of one. I forgot what I was doing at the time, but yeah, I have done that.
Yeah.
One thing I noticed about that is sometimes those groups could get static, and
Yes.
they allow visitors. So sometimes it seemed like those that kind of bounced around as a visitor tended to do really well if they presented really powerfully.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. There is a learning curve because what happens is you're to give either a 30 or 60-second commercial. You just stand up and say, "This is who I am. This is what I do," and then the next person stands up and says, "This is what I," and you go around the circle. And once you're an official member, then you can go visit other chapters. My wife and I spent a month in London, and I was working from there. And I was able to go to 5 or 6 different London chapters and build that network there. But
Wow.
yeah, sometimes the visitors, first of all, it takes a little bit of time to build a relationship, just within your group. You do want to some tips. You want to get a group that's about 25 members to 35 members. Anything smaller, just it's not so good with the referrals, and anything that's larger is just too many people. Now,
Yeah.
that's in your area. You may not have a lot of chapters and choices. It may just be one.
Mhm.
But there's so many wonderful things about this organization. One is that I was getting referrals all the time, right? And the other thing was that I was able to give referrals to my clients. So let's say a client was going through a divorce. I had a divorce attorney that I could refer to him. I could refer to him a real estate agent to get a new apartment, a decorator to decorate it. I mean, I knew all these people that I trusted
Right.
right from my group. The
Sure.
other thing that was wonderful is that it upped my game as a business owner because every week I was surrounded by other small business owners and I was learning from them. I was learning how they were approaching their businesses with a professional mindset. And one of my favorite quotes is, "We are the average of the 5 people we spend the most time with." And here I was able to spend
Okay.
time with other business owners, and it just upped my game. And sometimes I think we as therapists need permission or at least a template on being business owners, and that's okay and it's necessary. And we need those models of other people because nobody questioned the accountant and her approach to business. But sometimes therapists think business and marketing is icky, and it's not. So having that permission, that template of other people who were marketing their businesses really helped my own mindset.
Yeah. Yeah. And you really have to work on that 30-second
Yeah,
explanation of what it is that you provide and why someone would why someone would call you or give you out as a referral.
yeah.
30 seconds, 60 seconds. So like you have to really have that down pat in a way that's going to pull at someone's emotions. That's going to really motivate them to say, hey, yes, totally. I'm going to give this person's name and phone number out when I come across someone that I can see as a fit. So working on that sounds like it's very important.
Yeah, it really is. And, I will mention this because I've had some therapists do a little bit of pushback on BNI saying, the confidentiality aspect of it.
Right.
Because in BNI, they want to know, they track the referrals. They want to know, hey, I'm sending Jim
Right.
Martin to you, and they want a name and they want a number and an email, and it's called a warm referral. And therapists are going, I can't do that. You know,
Right.
it's important to go before you sign up and go to the president of the chapter and say, my field is a little different because of HIPAA, that I can't do what the lawyer does, and giving somebody a name, a number, an email address, and make a personal introduction
Right.
for a referral. And all of the chapter presidents that I've ever talked to, they get it. It's not a big deal. They just kind of bend that little rule for us.
Okay.
So just know that our field is a little more unique than everybody else's, and that they need to be aware of it.
Mhm.
So, but that's the only little tweak.
Yeah. Yeah. And in terms of the profile, you mentioned
Yeah,
putting your profile on websites that are already optimized for search.
yeah,
So when someone searches, hey, I want a counselor, search optimization is what sites come up for them to navigate to.
right.
So being listed on those profiles that already have good search engine optimization is really helpful. But then you're still going to be listed among several other clinicians. So any suggestions on writing that profile?
Absolutely. Um, there's some wonderful tips, and there's directories out there that I would really recommend that you be a part of. Many of them are free, Some of them, there's a small monthly fee. And the other thing that I hear from therapists is they are reluctant to spend money on their practices. Marketing does take money, and some of these are really, really cheap. Psychology Today, I think, is the most expensive, and it's $29.95 now.
Mm,
And let's say I only get one referral a year from them,
sure.
and I get more than that. That referral is going to pay for that
Right.
$29 in like 2 sessions, right? Depending on
Right.
what your session
Yes.
fee is.
Yes.
So it's worth the money. But you're
Yeah.
right, you are in a bigger bucket of therapists.
Yeah.
So couple of tips. One, spend the money and get a professional headshot. It's so important to have a
Yeah.
smiling, warm, professionally dressed, well lighted headshot. You know, the iPhones are good, especially on portrait mode on some of the newest one. Maybe you can do it yourself. And if you can get a really good headshot, then take 3 or 4 of them, get your colleagues to comment and vote on one. It's really important visually to express warmth and professionalism. But
Hmm.
then let's look at the body of your profile. Um, watch your pronouns. A big turnoff that is not going to connect is if you're going, I treat children, adults, seniors, and couples on depression. I got my degree here. I did this. I'm trained in that. I am a cognitive behavioral. Let's not talk
It's
so much
starting to
about you.
irritate me already.
Yes. It's me, 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 me. So that's not what you're, remember who you're talking to. You're talking to someone in pain, who is in need of help. Maybe this is the first time. They don't know what cognitive behavioral therapy is. So let's talk to them. Let's say, let's talk about what maybe they are struggling with. Depression is difficult. It can be overwhelming. There can be hope. You can feel better. There are ways for you to manage your anxiety. Talk to them, give them hope, relate to them. It's difficult to find a therapist. Here are some things to think about. Talk to them and use layman's terms.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Get away from, I did this and I did this and I'm trained in this specific and I went to this conference. Nobody cares.
That's right. That's
you
right.
can you can get them, you can put all that on your about page, because once you understand that the profile is just going to whet their appetite and get them interested. What's going to happen next? They're going to go to your website, and
Hmm.
then they're going to find out where you went to school and what kind of special training you
Right.
did and what kind of specialties you have. Get them interested by talking to them, relating to them. Then they're going to click over to your website. There you can talk about all your training all you want, because they'll want to research you. I teach people on how to find a therapist. They want that information.
Hmm.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Wow, that's very helpful. Now, a lot of those provider directories and then also Google Businesses, right,
Hmm.
is
Absolutely.
based upon geographical region.
Hmm.
So if someone's searching on any of these profiles or putting in like a zip code or something, or it's just using geolocation. You know,
Hmm.
it knows the IP address, so it knows where you're looking. Uh, it knows your area, so it's going to pull up clinicians in your area. That's a difficult thing to overcome when you're providing online counseling, where you can see someone anywhere in your state. Any recommendations on how to overcome that limitation?
Well, there one on your profile mention that you do. I think on Psychology Today they call it video therapy.
Right. Uh-huh.
It's one of those things you can click on. Psychology Today is a wonderful resource. Goodtherapy.org. My friend Jeff Gunther has started Therapy Den. But really, the only website that I'm aware of that gets past that geolocator, so it's not just your 5 mile radius, is my own directory, which is the
Right.
online counseling directory. You can find it at onlinecounseling.com. I'll do a little plug.
Mhm.
But there we break it down by state to comply with the state licensure issue. So let me see. Can I share my screen and kind of take you through the
Yeah.
search process? Let's see here. I'm going to share my screen. Here we go. So this is the online counseling directory. Nice little guy with fuzzy hair.
Mhm.
And it's at onlinecounseling.com. And you just come down here and let's say I'm going to pick my therapist. First thing that they ask is, what are your issue? And let's pick, it's important to have a niche, but let's say our guy is depressed and he speaks English. Search. We then ask you, are you a resident in the United States? Because this is a global practice, and many US therapists are working outside the United States, working with expats.
Hmm.
And there are some countries that do not have legislation or laws to limit them, and that we've got a resource on how to understand that. But let's say you do reside in the United States, then they're going to ask you, well, which state? So let's pick one that we know is going to have a whole lot of people in it. Let's pick Massachusetts. So we click on Massachusetts, and now we're going to see all the therapists that are listed in Massachusetts, right? Now you
Right.
could come over here and you could focus, you want to see only men or only women. Let's say you want someone that's familiar with LGBT issues. You can drill down with these other filters. But
Uh-huh.
let's just go down to Andrea. I know Andrea's a wonderful. You can go right to her website from here, or
Hmm.
let's look at her profile. So she got now. What we offer at the online counseling directory is the chance, kind of like on Facebook, that not only can you put your hopefully smiling headshot on there, but you can customize. And this picture, you can put a picture of your office. You can put a picture of rainbows, or your
Hmm.
logo, or whatever you want to put on there, and customize this whole look of your profile. So from here, you see her experience. You see she's a psychologist. She operates in the United States. And then you can go to her website, or you could email her. And then you get a little bit of information. And I love this. Again, she's not talking with a lot of eyes. Sometimes
Right.
in your life, things are just not going the way you want. You're hurting and feeling out of control. That's beautiful. It's
Yeah.
talking directly to them. And you come down here and you see her specialties, languages. She works with adults. She does coaching, cognitive behavioral, marital, psychodynamic, and these are all her specialties. And just like on Psychology Today, we ask you to list your top 3 and then all of the ones that you're competent in. And if you don't
Okay.
want to email her, you can just fill out the contact. So there's a lot of options here
Hmm.
for, and then I'll switch back over, for people to market their online practice at the online counseling directory.
Perfect. Yeah. And any recommendations for optimizing their website for search? Some
Yeah,
of the
and
key things with it.
there are specialists out there that are really good at that, and I think some basics that we know and understand. The landscape is changing all the time.
Hmm.
Sometimes our directory is listed as number 2 for some of our search times, and then some days we're down to number 5 on the homepage. It's just changing a lot, but there's some basic things that you can do. I think it's important for a number of reasons to have a blog. So on your website, that you have a blog, and that is a chance for your potential client to hear your voice, to hear your approach on
Right.
issues that you have a specialty on, like depression. And there's so many things that you can talk about. You can talk about that you went to see this movie, and maybe it's a popular movie, and here's what you noticed in this one character, and the choices that they made that improved or maybe made their depression worse. And that you can talk about politics, maybe not in this environment, but you can talk about, songs, you can talk about your own personal life. But in those things, you're using terms that Google and Bing and Yahoo are going to like, words like depression, anxiety, counseling, therapy, because those search engines crawl your website, and they want to make sure that they're sending people looking for therapy to your website, and not people looking for the newest Tesla Model Y coming out. that
Sure.
that shouldn't be on your website. It should be words like counseling, and it's something that you're always updating, so that you need to have tags on all your photos that have words like, counseling, depression, therapy. There's just, you need to look at load times, and those are things that really you should have a professional help you with search engine optimization. I use Upwork.
Okay.
.com, where you can go on there and say, I'm looking for an SEO specialist, and people will bid, and they're really affordable to somebody
Yeah.
to work with your site and bringing it up to speed so that maybe you're ranking on page 1 in your
Sure.
area and not on page
One
3.
thing that I find difficult with that is making sure that the person that's going to help you with SEO is going to do it in an ethical and legal way, in a way
Mhm.
that represents your professionalism and so forth.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Any
Absolutely.
recommendations how to ensure that they're not going to go ahead and put like, fake comments and fake likes, or create pages that you don't know about, stuff like that.
Absolutely. So I work with, and when you hire someone, you want to talk to other people who have worked with them,
Hmm.
and you want to monitor them. So I work with Aaron Carpenter of Legendary Lion. He works with a lot of therapists on their site. Great guy. And I meet with him once a month and I say, what have you done this month for my website? And we go over his actions, and then I can pull him back, which I rarely ever need to because he knows things, but say, that doesn't quite feel, let's not do that again. Let's take that down. And what are your plans for this week? So I monitor what he's doing. And if he ever came to me and said, we're creating 3 new fake Yelp likes out there for your, and they're fake
Yeah.
people, but they're, I'm like, no, we're not going to do that. And
Yeah.
again, in fairness, Aaron would never do that. But there
Yeah.
are terms like black hat and white hat, and you want to have the white hat SEO guys. So talk to other therapists. Who are they using? There's some wonderful people out there that, but
Mhm.
you then also, as a professional, need to be competent. And that's where Ray can help you quite a bit on what is allowed, what's not allowed, so that you can guide them. Because understand, they're also working with car dealerships that don't have that much technical
That's
problems, um, so yeah, you need to be aware so that you can guide them, but you also need to monitor them, review them on a monthly basis. What did they do? And then what are they going to do next month? And again, everyone, this is a business. You are going to have to spend money.
Yeah.
You want to be smart about it, but you
That's a
need
very
to spend
important
money.
point. And I know why you're saying that, Clay, because I agree. People sometimes, when they're in private practice, are like, oh, I'm not sure I could spend that money on this or that. Well, come on. Yeah, you really do have to spend money
I
to
know.
market well.
It
It's
just
the
is.
way
I
it
don't
is.
know why our industry is so reluctant. I know that we don't always get paid a lot of money. We don't always have a
Yeah,
lot of money,
right.
but understand this is part of us connecting with people who need us, because if we don't do that, then we're kind of holding ourselves back and not
Yeah,
being able to connect with them.
yeah,
It's like I talk to people all the time who are reluctant to get the professional Zoom with the business associate
right.
agreement because it's like, what is it, $200 a month?
Yeah.
And I want to go, look, I pay $2,000 a month for my office in Manhattan, and I understand that's in Manhattan. But if I had to pay $200 a month for an office, sign me up. That's yes, yes.
I hear you. I hear you. It's a tough thing for some people to get over. So it's really important to realize you are going to have to spend money to market yourself well. It's a part of being in business. So
Yeah,
yeah, this has been very, very helpful, Clay. As you listen to this, certainly visit the online counseling directory. It's onlinecounseling.com. Very easy to find. And Clay, thank you for all of your blog and the resources that you provide, and providing this great information for people. Really appreciate it. Sharing your
absolutely.
wisdom, things that you've learned from your own practice, and then helping clinicians through the years. Excellent. Thank you very much.
Great. It's a pleasure being here. Thank you.